12 best companion plants for growing thriving cucumbers at home, and 4 you must avoid. Welcome, dear friends of earthly delights. If you've ever stood in your kitchen cradling a tiny sprout, or spent your Sunday mornings tending to pots on your balcony or garden, you are truly in the right place. Here, we believe that growing plants isn't just a hobby, it's a quiet rebellion against a rushing world. It's a return to patience, to wonder, to nurturing life one leaf at a time. Today, we're diving into a topic that every passionate home gardener needs to know: the art of companion planting for cucumbers. Whether you're working with a sunny windowsill, a small backyard, or a raised bed bursting with green dreams, understanding which plants thrive together can transform your growing space into a thriving, living ecosystem. And trust me, you don't need acres of land to witness miracles. Even a few pots, thoughtfully arranged, can weave magic you'll feel in your soul. So, if you love the idea of a healthier, more abundant garden, with fewer pests and happier plants, make sure to stay until the end. You won't want to miss the companions that can make or break your cucumber's journey. Before we jump in, if you find joy in growing, nurturing, and learning alongside nature, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights. Together, we're cultivating more than plants, we're growing a life full of beauty, patience, and small everyday wonders. Part 1. Why companion planting matters more in small gardens. Have you ever noticed how in the smallest spaces, every detail matters a little more? Maybe it's that one stubborn corner of your windowsill where the light never seems quite right. Or the tiny balcony garden where each pot feels like it needs its own perfect plan. When we garden in limited spaces, whether indoors or out, the relationships between plants become even more important. Every inch, every drop of water, every ray of sunlight, they're precious. That's where the ancient practice of companion planting becomes a secret weapon for modern home growers like us. It's not just about saving space, though that's certainly a bonus. Companion planting is about creating tiny ecosystems where plants help each other survive and thrive. Much like friends supporting one another through challenges. In large fields or sprawling gardens, mistakes can sometimes go unnoticed. But in a small garden, or a cluster of pots on a patio, one bad pairing can spell trouble fast. Roots can tangle and fight for nutrients. Leaves can shade each other out. Pests can spread like wildfire when plants are stressed and crammed too tightly. But imagine the opposite: cucumbers climbing joyfully up a sunflower's sturdy stalk. Marigolds at their feet keeping pests away with bursts of cheerful color. And bees weaving lazily between dill fronds and cucumber blossoms. That's the magic we're aiming for. When we thoughtfully choose plant partners, even the tiniest garden becomes more resilient, more beautiful, and, most importantly, more abundant. And if you've ever watched a single vine twist toward the sun, or plucked the first cucumber from your very own pot, you already know there's no garden too small to dream big. So now that we understand just how vital these plant friendships can be, let's journey together into discovering the 12 best companions for our cucumbers, and a few tricky plants to avoid along the way. Trust me, your future harvest will thank you. Part 2: 12 Best Companion Plants for Cucumbers. Now, with our hearts and hands ready to weave a more harmonious garden, it's time to meet the heroes of this journey, 12 remarkable plants that can walk alongside your cucumbers. Each offering a special kind of support. Think of them as a circle of friends, each with their own talents. Some protect, some nourish, some lift others higher. And just like in life, the right companions can make all the difference between simply surviving and truly flourishing. So let's step into this green gathering, beginning with a flower that might seem small at first glance, but carries the heart of a guardian. 1. Marigold, the cheerful protector. If you've ever grown marigolds before, you know they don't just sit quietly in the garden. They sing with color, lighting up every corner with vibrant golds and oranges, like tiny suns scattered across your soil. But their true magic runs deeper than beauty. Marigolds are natural warriors. Their roots release compounds into the soil that repel nematodes, those invisible root-damaging pests, and their cheerful scent acts like an invisible shield, driving away aphids, whiteflies, and even beetles that often prey on tender cucumber vines. For gardeners growing in small spaces, where a single pest outbreak can spread fast. Marigolds are a game changer. They don't require much space. They thrive in pots or beds, and they work day and night to protect the more vulnerable plants beside them. And there's something almost poetic about it. The strongest guardians often come in the most joyful forms. By planting marigolds near your cucumbers, you're inviting not just protection, but a daily reminder that strength and beauty can grow hand in hand. Now that we've met our first champion, are you ready to discover who joins this vibrant garden circle next? 2. Nasturtium, the brave Decoy. Now, not every hero wears shining armor. Some, like the humble Nasturtium, protect through an unexpected act of bravery, by offering themselves first. With their soft, round leaves and vivid blooms of red, orange, and yellow, nasturtiums bring a carefree beauty to any garden. But more importantly, they are nature's decoys, aphids, those tiny sap-sucking pests that can cripple cucumber vines. Find nasturtiums absolutely irresistible. Instead of attacking your precious cucumbers, they flock to the nasturtiums like moths to a flame. In small home gardens, where every plant counts, this simple trick can be the difference between a thriving crop and a struggling one. Plant nasturtiums nearby, and watch as they boldly shield your cucumbers, taking the first hit so your vines can grow strong and unbothered. It's a quiet kind of courage, and a reminder that sometimes the gentlest things carry the fiercest protection. 3. Radish, the silent soil worker. Beneath the surface of every healthy garden lies a hidden world, a place where roots weave stories we rarely see. And in that unseen realm, radishes work their quiet magic. Radishes grow fast and fearlessly, sending their roots deep into the soil, breaking apart hard clumps, and creating natural channels for air and water. For cucumber plants, which have delicate, shallow roots, this is a silent blessing. By planting radishes around your cucumbers, you're not just adding a crunchy treat to your future harvest. You're loosening the earth, making it softer, more breathable, a perfect cradle for cucumber roots to stretch, sip, and thrive. It's a reminder that not all heroes bloom above the ground. Some do their best work in the dark, making space for others to shine. 4. Bush beans, the natural fertilizer. Some companions don't just stand guard, they feed the world around them. Bush beans are like quiet alchemists, turning the invisible into the essential. Through a wondrous process called nitrogen fixation, bush beans capture nitrogen from the air and weave it into the soil, making it rich and nourishing. And guess who thrives in that fertile ground? Our eager cucumber vines, always hungry for nutrients to fuel their sprawling growth. For those of us tending tiny plots or a few pots on the patio, every ounce of healthy soil is gold. Planting bush beans among your cucumbers ensures they'll never grow up hungry. It's nature's way of showing us that real strength often comes from quietly giving back. With bush beans by their side, your cucumbers won't just grow, they'll flourish, full of life and promise. 5. Dill, the secret insect ally. Not all garden battles are fought with sprays and traps. Some are won simply by planting the right ally, and dill is one of the best. With its feathery leaves and gentle fragrance, dill may look delicate, but it plays a powerful role behind the scenes. It calls in an army of tiny heroes, ladybugs that feast on aphids, hoverflies whose larvae devour pests, and even parasitic wasps that protect your crops. In a small home garden, attracting beneficial insects is like having a silent, tireless workforce. Plant dill near your cucumbers, and you'll notice fewer pests and a more balanced, vibrant garden buzzing with unseen life. It's amazing how a single humble herb can tip the scales so dramatically. Sometimes, the strongest defense isn't loud or aggressive, it simply invites help at the right time. 6. Sunflowers, the giant guardians. Every garden needs its gentle giants, those who stand tall, offering strength and shelter without ever asking for thanks. Sunflowers are exactly that kind of companion. With their towering stalks and wide, welcoming faces, sunflowers provide so much more than beauty. They become living trellises, giving your cucumber vines a sturdy structure to climb. And as the sun blazes down, their broad leaves cast soft patches of shade, protecting delicate cucumber fruits from scorching heat. In small gardens, where every inch of space matters. This vertical partnership is priceless. It lifts your cucumbers upward, improving air circulation and keeping the soil cooler and healthier below. Sunflowers remind us that true support doesn't always mean standing in the spotlight. Sometimes, it's about simply being there, steadfast, strong, and always reaching toward the light. 7. Chives, the gentle repellent. Sometimes, the smallest plants carry the quietest power. Chives, with their slender green stalks and soft purple blossoms, are more than just a kitchen favorite, they're a subtle force of protection. Their natural aroma, while delightful to us, acts as a gentle warning to many unwanted garden pests like aphids and spider mites. It's as if chives whisper a message that keeps trouble at bay, creating a safer, healthier space for your cucumbers to grow. In small home gardens or cozy container setups, where pest problems can spread quickly, planting chives alongside your cucumbers is a smart, simple shield. They don't demand attention, they don't take up much space. They just quietly work in the background, keeping your green sanctuary thriving. Chives remind us that strength doesn't always roar, sometimes it simply grows, steady and serene, by your side. 8. Oregano, the invisible shield. Some protectors don't shout or even show themselves. They simply exist, creating an invisible barrier of safety around those they care for. Oregano is exactly that kind of companion in your garden. While we savor its bold, savory scent in the kitchen, many pests find oregano's aroma overwhelming and confusing. It acts like a natural camouflage, masking the scent of nearby cucumber vines and making it harder for harmful insects to zero in on them. For indoor gardens, balconies, and small backyard beds, where every plant lives closely together, this kind of subtle defense is a gift. Oregano is hardy, easy to grow, and spreads just enough to offer a gentle shield without crowding your space. It's a quiet reminder, sometimes, the strongest protection is simply staying quietly in the background, making sure your loved ones shine without fear. 9. Lettuce, the shade companion. In the quiet corners of the garden, lettuce grows with a gentle grace. It doesn't climb, it doesn't sprawl, it simply nestles low to the ground, offering a gift that's easy to overlook: coolness. Planted beneath your cucumbers, lettuce acts like a living mulch, helping to retain precious soil moisture and keep the roots cool during hot days. This is especially vital for cucumber plants, whose shallow roots can dry out quickly under a harsh sun. And there's another hidden magic: while your cucumbers are busy stretching upward, your lettuces are ready to harvest sooner, giving you crisp rewards long before the first cucumbers arrive. In small home gardens where maximizing every layer matters, lettuce is the quiet companion that turns empty space into living, breathing support. It teaches us that not every role needs to be flashy. Sometimes it's the humble, steady ones that create the strongest foundation. 10. Calendula, pot marigold, the healing companion. In every thriving garden, there are those who not only protect, but also heal. Calendula, often called pot marigold, is one of these rare gifts. With its bright, sun-kissed petals, calendula brings bursts of joy wherever it blooms. But beneath that cheerful beauty lies a deeper magic. Calendula attracts beneficial insects like hoverflies and parasitic wasps, guardians who keep destructive pests in check. At the same time, its roots help purify the soil, gently suppressing harmful pathogens that could threaten young cucumber plants. For the small space gardener, where every plant must pull its weight, calendula offers double blessings, both above and below the ground. It's a living reminder that healing often happens quietly, beneath the surface, where patience and presence do their deepest work. Plant calendula alongside your cucumbers, and you're inviting not just protection, but a deep, natural resilience into your garden's story. 11. Yarrow, the root strengthener. Some plants are like quiet builders, working steadily behind the scenes to make everything stronger. Yarrow is one of those steady hands in the garden. With its soft, feathery leaves and clusters of tiny flowers, yarrow might seem delicate, but its roots dive deep, breaking through tough soil and drawing up nutrients that other plants struggle to reach. In doing so, it enriches the soil not just for itself, but for nearby plants like your cucumbers, giving them a stronger, more nourishing foundation to grow. Yarrow also attracts a host of helpful pollinators, bees, butterflies, and ladybugs, ensuring your cucumber flowers are never lonely for visitors. For those of us tending small gardens, where every root matters, Yarrow reminds us that true strength often begins deep below the surface. Long before anyone sees the bloom, plant it near your cucumbers, and you're laying the groundwork for resilience, abundance, and quiet, enduring growth. 12. Borage, the pollination booster. In every flourishing garden, there's a secret artist at work, someone who draws visitors from near and far. Borage, with its star-shaped blue flowers, is that artist. Borage acts like a magnet for bees, bringing them buzzing joyfully into your garden. And where bees go, pollination follows, which means fuller, healthier cucumber harvests for you. But borage's magic doesn't end there. Its presence is said to strengthen the growth of nearby plants, boosting their resilience and even helping to ward off pests naturally. In a cozy home garden or a sun-drenched balcony, borage becomes a bridge between wild nature and your tender crops. Planting borage is like sending an open invitation to life itself, inviting movement, color, and abundance to dance through your cucumber vines. Because sometimes, all it takes is one bright bloom to turn a quiet garden into a symphony of growth. Part 3 to 4 Plants to avoid near cucumbers. Now that we've gathered our circle of trusted companions, it's time for an equally important lesson, learning who to keep at a respectful distance. Because in every garden, just like in life, some relationships, though well-meaning, can turn into quiet struggles beneath the surface. Competition for nutrients, hidden chemical signals, or simply mismatched needs can cause even the strongest plants to falter. When your growing space is precious, especially in small gardens or pots, planting the wrong neighbors side by side can mean slow growth, weaker harvests, or vulnerable vines. So let's meet the few plants that, while wonderful in their own right, are best kept away from your thriving cucumbers, starting with one of the biggest resource hogs of them all. 1. Potatoes, the greedy neighbor. At first glance, potatoes might seem harmless. After all, who doesn't love a hearty harvest? But hidden beneath the soil, potatoes are relentless feeders, drawing huge amounts of water and nutrients from the earth. In small gardens or container setups, this competition can quickly spell disaster for nearby cucumbers. Their roots, already delicate, can be overwhelmed, leaving the vines stunted and struggling. It's not that potatoes are bad plants, they simply need too much when planted too close. If you're dreaming of both bountiful cucumbers and golden potatoes, it's best to give each their own dedicated space. Because sometimes, true growth means knowing when to grow apart. 2. Sage, the growth blocker. Sage, with its soft silvery leaves and earthy aroma, often feels like an old friend in the herb garden. But when it comes to cucumbers, this friendship carries unseen tension. You see, sage naturally releases certain compounds into the soil, compounds that are harmless, even helpful, to many plants. Yet for cucumbers, these hidden chemicals can stunt growth, slowing down what would otherwise be vigorous, climbing vines. In small spaces, where every inch of soil must nourish and encourage life, this silent clash can be costly. Cucumbers planted too close to sage may never reach their full, fruitful potential. It's a gentle reminder that even among the best-intentioned companions, not every relationship is meant to grow side by side. For the sake of both plants, it's wiser to let sage thrive in its own sunny corner, while cucumbers stretch freely toward the sky elsewhere. 3. Melons, the family rival. At first, planting melons and cucumbers together feels almost natural. After all, they're family, both members of the sprawling, sun-loving gourd clan. But just like siblings who sometimes clash over the same slice of cake, melons and cucumbers compete fiercely for space, water, and nutrients. Both are heavy feeders, both thirst for sunshine, and both stretch their vines greedily across the soil. In small home gardens, this rivalry can quickly drain the life from your growing space. Instead of thriving together, both crops may struggle, yielding smaller fruits and fewer harvests than they could apart. It's a sweet but necessary lesson, even among family. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is give each one room to grow in their own way. So if you dream of juicy melons and crisp cucumbers, Let them shine from different patches of your garden world. 4. Fennel, the silent saboteur. Some plants carry a quiet mystery, and fennel is one of them. With its feathery fronds and sweet, anise-like scent, fennel looks harmless, almost enchanting. But hidden within its roots lies a powerful secret. Fennel releases compounds into the soil that inhibit the growth of many nearby plants, cucumbers included. This phenomenon, known as allelopathy, acts like an invisible toxin to sensitive neighbors. In a small garden, where roots weave close and life depends on silent cooperation, fennel can become a quiet saboteur, weakening cucumber vines before you even realize what's wrong. It's not out of malice, it's simply fennel being true to its nature. But to protect your cucumber's dreams of climbing, flowering, and fruiting freely, it's best to plant fennel far away, giving it a patch where its strong spirit can do no harm. Because even the most beautiful things sometimes need their own space to thrive. Part 4. Common mistakes in companion planting, and how to avoid them. Even the most devoted gardeners, those who speak to their plants and check the soil with loving fingertips, can sometimes stumble when it comes to companion planting. Because while the idea sounds simple, the reality is a living, breathing dance between dozens of unseen factors. One of the most common mistakes? Overcrowding. It's easy to be over-ambitious, squeezing too many companions into too small a space, hoping for a lush, overflowing garden. But plants, like people, need room to stretch, to breathe, to root deeply without bumping into each other. Without enough airflow and soil access, even the best companions can become competitors. Another silent saboteur? Ignoring microclimates. In every garden, even a small balcony, there are warmer spots, shadier corners, and breezier pockets. Understanding where the sunlight lingers longest, or where afternoon shadows fall, helps you match each plant to its perfect stage. And finally, a mistake many don't even realize they're making: neglecting root behavior. Some plants spread wide and shallow, others dive deep. Pairing plants with opposite root habits allows them to coexist harmoniously, drinking from different layers of the soil without starving one another. Remember, companion planting isn't about forcing a crowd into a small space, it's about choreographing a quiet, graceful dance, one where each plant plays its part in balance, in rhythm, in quiet generosity. With a little mindfulness and observation, you can turn even the tiniest patch of earth into a flourishing, self-sustaining haven. Part 5. Your garden. Your story. Every time you press a seed into the soil, you're doing more than planting, you're beginning a new story. One woven with patience, wonder, and quiet victories that few others may ever see. Your garden, no matter how small, is a mirror of your spirit. Each cucumber vine stretching toward the sun reflects a hope you've nurtured. Each companion plant you thoughtfully choose whispers of your care, your willingness to listen to nature's silent language. Maybe you have just a handful of pots lining a sunny balcony. Maybe you have a tiny backyard where children once played, now blooming with green dreams. Wherever you grow, know this: you are part of something timeless. You're joining generations of growers who understood that true abundance isn't forced, it's fostered. It's built from unseen alliances beneath the soil, from bees dancing between flowers, from roots quietly exchanging strength in the dark. And when you harvest that first crisp cucumber, or see the bright flash of a marigold beside it, you'll realize, this isn't just gardening, this is co-creation. This is a life lived more closely with the earth. Your garden tells your story, not just what you grew, but how you chose to grow. Thank you and final blessing. And so, dear friends of earthly delights, as we gently close this journey together, remember, gardening is not just about mastering techniques or chasing perfect harvests. It's about stepping into partnership with life itself. It's about patience, trust, and finding beauty even in the smallest new leaf or the tiniest blossom. Whether you're planting marigolds to guard your cucumbers, welcoming borage to call in the bees, or simply making space for roots to breathe, you are shaping a world of abundance. One quiet choice at a time. I hope today's exploration has sparked new ideas, offered new companions for your green sanctuary, and reminded you that even a few pots of earth can hold a universe of miracles. If you found inspiration here, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Earthly Delights. so we can continue growing this beautiful journey together. And I'd love to hear your stories. What are you planting this season? What companions have worked wonders for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading every word. Until we meet again, may your gardens be bountiful, your roots deep, and your heart forever open to the quiet magic that grows all around us. Happy gardening, and see you soon.